Hey YouTube, it's Chuck. Just another quick video. I had someone in the comments below ask me about my grafting frame rest. It's a very simple thing I made, and I figured I would just go into a little bit more detail about it because it was so simple to make and someone asked about it, and that's what I'm here to do, is to help you guys kind of learn from my lessons that I've learned over the years. So this is my frame rest. I made it out of scrap wood. It doesn't need to be fancy. The most important part, just so you can pretend this was my graft frame, is I just set it in here, and the top bar just rests on those angles. None of this is 100% important or accurate, and I made it for my own use so that the natural up angle of a cell is underneath the light, so the light goes straight into the cell. That's the objective, and that it fits your needs. So this is how it works. And let me just break it down a little bit into some dimensions. And the most important part for me is it comes apart into 2 pieces of wood, and I can put this in a bucket during the off season so it stays out of the way. I did write tape down on here years ago, thinking that I needed to kind of hold this down so it didn't move. I don't tape it down any longer. When this little wedge is in there, it just kind of stays where it is. But this is how it works. It's just a little piece of scrap wood, and the width of this doesn't matter. But for the purposes of telling you, this is 2.5 inches or about 65 centimeters of width. There are 2 little notches that you do need to make one way or another. I made these with a standard table saw, instead of a dado blade. A dado blade would do it much nicer, but it doesn't really matter. And the gist of it is a notch down on one side that is the width of your base frame. And this little piece here is just a little, little bit more than 1 inch. And a little bit more than this. So it's a 3/4 inch width and a little bit more than 1 inch wide. Scrap also, whatever you've got in there. But this just needs to match that, so it has some sort of interlocking feature. You could screw it down, but I don't screw it down because I want to be able to take it apart. So that is just holding that in place so that this distance is fixed. And the next notch you need to make is some sort of groove with a little bit of an angle there, so that when the frame sits in there, it's just got a little bit of a base. I made this groove bigger than it needed to be because I wasn't very precise when I made it. And when I say bigger, wider, because you can see when I'm in my frame rest, I'm not using this part of the groove at all. I could have probably had the groove just right here at the end, and then I would set it into that little notch. So you only need to kind of cut out about 1 inch. About 2.5 centimeters worth of wood here on the bottom. I think it is a little important to have that slight angle on there because it does rest on there very nicely, to have that angle kind of match the angle here. Now, the angle just on mine, and I did not measure this when I made it, but for the purposes of this video, so you'll know, I have about 65 degrees, I believe is what it is. Let me go ahead and reset this. Yeah, this is at about 65 degrees. And all I did to do that was cut an angle here and then raise them up. And for my length of this, the back side is about 4.5 inches and the inner side is about 3 7/8 inches. Honestly, I would go ahead and cut that angle and then just square cut these till you get it just right. If you've got 5 inches of wood and you put it on there and get your 65-degree angle cut on there and then just trim it down until your frame rest fits. And if you look closely, my frame rest is sitting on the top of this, so it's not even perfectly centered. I could probably have tweaked that a little bit better, but it doesn't cause me any sort of issues. So that's my tiny little frame rest. Not much to do there. Let me give you one other dimension here. My width is about 13 inches, a little shy of 13 inches. And that width dimension, all that is important is that, it's inside of the ears and the frame bars here so that you're resting on this top bar. And that's it. So that's my homemade frame rest for the commenter that asked for the video. Thank you for the comment, and this is for you. If you got any questions, leave them in the comments below. I think I've left most of the measurements, but honestly, just go for it. This piece right here in the bottom is the most important piece to get that little angle and the distance, correct from the back end. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.